A first place with Blue Eyes, 3-0. So it's been 6 months since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has to take a back seat, so I'm excited to be back.
Taking out Blue Eyes. I know, sacrilegious, I'm down to 2 Blue Eyes instead of 3, but I think we knew it was going to happen.
So game number 1 had us up against David playing Tachyon. Match number 2 had us up against Chris, back on his Chimera Fiendsmith deck. And match number 3, small local, so it was only 3 rounds today, was against Mark playing Malice.
So it's been 6 months since I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot has changed from that first Trap Tricks deck that I brought out and lost every single game with, to the very brief Fire King stint before OSS got banned, to the Gimmick Puppet deck, which I loved, but now onto my favourite deck, which is Blue Eyes. And it's crazy to think that 6 months ago I was losing every single game, could barely take one win off anyone because not only was my deck building poor, but also my game knowledge was non-existent. It's still not great now, but I'm getting better every single week that I play. To now be the kind of person who is hunting for a top 4 every time they go to locals, and even just trying to top wherever I can, it's not always feasible, and I think it's not always necessarily down to playing the best, because a lot of it is down to dice rolls, luck of the draw, but that is just card games at the end of the day. But top 4 consistently is now my aim every time I go out and play Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is a complete contrast to when I started going 6 months ago, when my aim was, can you win a game? Can you win an entire match off someone? And if so, that was a win to me. So on what is now the video for the 6-month milestone, unfortunately it's coming off the back of not playing at all for 2 weeks, not going to locals last weekend because I was away on a stag do. So I'm very out of practice. Everything feels very rough, but I've got a couple of days until locals just to, you know, do some test hands online, get the cards in my hands and just do some test hands with myself and hope that we can be ready in time for Sunday to do well. Top 4, again, is always what I'm hunting for now. There is, I think, a big tournament this weekend, so quite a few people are going to be away, but it doesn't matter who's there or who's not, as long as we're playing good Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's some good decks floated about, a top 4 is still a top 4. We've also got a couple of very small changes to the deck, providing that, fingers crossed, Chris is going to be at locals this weekend, because we've got a couple of trades to do with him for cards that are going to go straight into my deck. Another thing is that Quarter Century Stampede is coming out in, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, and we haven't really heard anything yet. Outside of the spoilers that we got months ago for the Salamangreat card and Ambler Whale and Fua, we've not really had much movement in terms of what cards are coming, so I'm excited. I've got a box coming. It's nice to get packs at the end of a locals, like 3 or 4 packs for how many games you win, things like that, but it doesn't really satisfy the itch. So I've got a box of that coming, so I'll be opening that on the channel in less than a month, hopefully, as long as it's here. And yeah, hopefully that should feed my addiction for a little while, because it feels like it's been ages since I've opened any packs, even though it was literally a few weeks ago opening a Suda box. But it just, I don't know, something about Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that you just have to keep ripping them open all the time. Not much has changed about the deck over these first few weeks. I've not wanted to make too many changes and completely confuse myself. So the only things that have happened is some extra deck changes, just because things like the Indigo Eyes just weren't working. The only other change I've made this week were that we removed our nibs. We had 2 nibs in the deck. I've got rid of those and swapped them out for 2 talents. And taken out Blue Eyes. I know, sacrilegious, I'm down to 2 Blue Eyes instead of 3. What I think we knew was going to happen is 2 Bricky running 3, so we're down to 2. So we're now down to a 42 card deck, and instead of the 2 nibs, we've got 2 talents, just because I think they're so strong right now that you need to have them.
So guys, we've made it to the car park just outside Geek Retreat. I feel like this is like a classic car shot that I do every time. We've not actually managed to be at Geek Retreat too many times in the last like 6 weeks, maybe like 2 times, 3 times, just because life gets in the way. I've had a stag do, I've had family plans, and you know, sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has to take a back seat. So I'm excited to be back, and hopefully we won't be too rusty after a few weeks off.
game number 1 had us up against David playing Tachyon. I haven't played this deck before, but luckily he was quite new to it, so he was still learning all the combos. This one did go the distance with 3 games, but we did end up taking it 2-1. Match number 2 had us up against Chris, back on his Chimera Fiendsmith deck. I think I probably played against Chris one of the most, and it's always fun. And this one we did end up going for 3 games again, but we ended up winning it 2-1. It's always fun to play against Chris, and he makes his own videos and vlog series on locals as well, so it's always nice to hear his expert opinions on what happened during the game, whereas I'm just hoping for the best. And match number 3, small local, so there's only 3 rounds today, was against Mark playing Malice. And I don't like Malice. We managed to win the first game, lose the second, and we actually won the third game on time, which, given previous weeks we've managed to lose games on time, we saw there was only a couple of minutes left, got out of blue eyes, and just swung over for game.
So we've just come back from another week of locals. Slightly quieter one this week because there is a bigger tournament going on somewhere elsewhere. But we did it, a first place with Blue Eyes, 3-0. Now, even though quite a few people were missing, we still played against Malice, we played against Fiendsmith Chimera, we played against the new Tachyon deck, which is the first time I've ever played against it. I've not even come up against it online yet, so that was really new and fun and interesting to navigate. Luckily, David was also still learning the deck, so it meant that it wasn't playing someone who was completely on it and knew every single move. So that might have helped me out a little bit, but I couldn't be happier, guys. 3-0 with the new Blue Eyes deck. After I put down the gimmick puppets, I was questioning myself because I was doing so well with it every week, top 4s all the time, causing a nuisance. But I'm glad that I'm playing a more competent, turn-based deck rather than just can I FTK you in the first turn. Yes, I know. Right. Fine. You can join me then.